Welcome to Tucson Hotel, your ultimate home away from home. Located in the serene town of Ejisu Itakum, just off the Jabin Road, we offer you a haven of comfort and luxury. Step into our fully air-conditioned 40 bedrooms where modern elegance meets convenience. Whether you choose our normal, standard, deluxe standard, or executive rooms, each one is equipped with Wi-Fi and DSTV, ensuring that you stay connected and entertained throughout your stay. Indulge your taste buds at our exquisite bar and restaurant, where our skilled chefs prepare a wide range of culinary delight to satisfy every palate. From local delicacies to international favorites, we have something for everyone. Planning a business meeting or a special event? Look no further than our state-of-the-art conference hall. With a capacity to accommodate 80 to 100 people. It is the perfect venue for your corporate gatherings or social celebrations. But that's not all. We proudly boast the largest recreational center in the Ejisu municipality. With a capacity to accommodate up to 2,000 people, it is the ideal location for concerts, weddings, and other grand events. It comes with 4 fully air-conditioned bedrooms and a kitchen as one package. Our luxury cars are also available for rent. Drive like a boss. To experience true hospitality and unmatched comfort, contact us today. Our friendly staff is ready to assist you. You can reach us at 0244 654 458, 0246 505 327, or 0241 418645. You can also email us at info@tucsonhotel@gmail.com. Tucson Hotel, your home away from home.
Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I can hear my brother crying. He's crying out, I can't breathe. I'm in a struggle and I can't leave. Crying out, yeah, I can't breathe. I'm in a struggle.
Reggae culture, reggae culture, and reggae.
Oh, I can't breathe. Say no. Whoa, 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 yeah. Ooh. It was in 1948 to these shores we came, with a willingness to all achieve and to make a change. Even through oppression, they rejected us, we made a way. 70 years later to this day, but what more has changed? They claim to the youths them the wicked, but look at the youths them the wicked. Education system is failing us. Prison system is just the same. They tell you to go and find employment just to work your whole life away. Teach people fear one another, terrorize them and find no one to blame. What you gonna do? What you gonna say? What you gonna do? What you gonna say? Yeah, 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 yeah. You can come to government, but usually don't know on your head, I can see a lot of tension, like you're in an opposite situation. Nobody giving into emotion, straight to the grave from frustration. Use your mind, focus, pay attention. This will stop the confusion. What you gonna do? I said, what you gonna say? when it comes time to do Father's work, you cannot run away. Yeah. Mommy just a ball, pops just a one. Head spinning round, and what's going on? I don't really know what's going wrong. I don't really feel too strong. Wish noise would just die down. You know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oops. Yes, indeed. 1, 2, 1, 2. Radio culture.
Take the children and go home.
We airborne right now, reaching you out of Texas, USA. Our studio 2 is in Mamponting, Kumasi. Go download the app right now. We're also reaching you on 10 different platforms and still counting. You hearing us from www.ghnewsnow.com.
Teachers, doctors, and nurses, chanters and poets.
We're also on modernghana.com. When you reach modernghana.com, just search GH News Now. Actually, search Radio Culture.
Africa, we're coming home. Yeah.
Martuna Radio if you are on the iOS systems. If you're on the Android systems, you can definitely go download the app Radio Culture out of the Google Play Store. And so we do it every week, bringing you the inner marrows of reggae music. Quintessential, essential. No holds barred interviews with the people that make reggae music what it is. And one such band is the guest that I have today, ably represented by their leader. Hear the song in the background.
Sons and daughters, time to go.
In a very short while, I will be going on the line to go speak with the man. I think he's a reverend. We'll find out about that. Man called Anthony Brightly.
Black woman.
Song called Going Home. Coming straight out of the studios of Black Slate. Black Slate is my guest today.
In the belly of the beast.
Very, very, very rich cultural history in the reggae music vein.
Black woman.
And we're about to find out more about this band, Black Slate.
Black woman.
Coming out of England.
Please take the children and go. Black woman.
Stay put. In about less than a minute, we'll be talking to the man called Anthony Brightly.
Black woman.
Every time I
Please take the children and go.
I said, why didn't you just tell me that? Everything's complete because I thought it was being the place.
Black woman. Black woman. I say, please take the children home. Please take the children home. Black woman. Yeah. Yeah. have a problem. Only you should be the one who could solve it. Then on your head, I can see a lot of tension, like you're in another sticky situation. Well, nobody giving in to emotion. Stress to the brain through frustration. Use your mind, focus, pay attention. This will stop the confusion. What you gonna do? I said, what you gonna say? When it comes time to do Father's work, you cannot run away. Yeah. Mommy just a ball, pops just a one. Head spinning round, and what's going on? I don't really know what's going wrong. I don't really feel too strong. Wish noise would just die down. Need a minute just to lie down. Feel like why should I try now? I don't wanna slow down. Friends and family don't know how. Feels to be me, and what am I supposed to do? Lord knows I'll pray. It seems no matter how I try, the devil just won't go away. I want to say, I said the heat is really on, so it's time for me to move smarter. The pressure's building up, so it's time for me to move wiser. Say them not ready for this stormy, have some brimstone and fire. Yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter what anybody has to say. I know I'm blessed and you're blessed. God will always steer us the right way. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I can hear my brother crying. He's crying out, I can't breathe. I'm in a struggle and I can't leave. Crying out for help, I can't breathe. I'm in a struggle and I can't leave. I'm crying out for help.
Song in the background called I Can't Breathe, and everybody can connect with that, can't we? All right, let's go on the line right now and go talk to the man at the moment. One call, Mr. Anthony Brightly. Blessed love, Mr. Brightly.
Big up, big up, big up, big up. Big respect, my brother. Big, big respect. It's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Give enough thanks, give enough thanks for picking up the invite to come on this show and coming to share your rich experience in reggae music with us. And I'm sure that by the end of the interview, everybody will know what I mean when I say rich experience in reggae music. All right. So let's start it like this. Black Slate. Who is the band Black Slate? Tell us a bit about that band, Black Slate.
Okay, so Black Slate started in 1972. We were originally called the Young Ones from Zion because obviously we were very young then. I was only 12 years old at that time. And yeah, we were young. The name, and basically we started off as a backing band for a talent competition. And what was interesting about it was a talent competition that we all wanted to be in. And then the next thing we realized, we were the backing band for the talent competition, which is what really gave us our grounding in reggae music, because it was a talent competition that everyone was singing reggae music. So we ended up learning the top 100 reggae records and playing them very well. And then with that knowledge of all of those songs, every artist that came over from Jamaica, they said, well, because they couldn't afford to bring the whole band,
Yeah.
they also will use a local band.
Yeah.
And we was that band. And because we were playing reggae music so often, we were like a little jukebox, technically. And, we backed people like Dennis Brown, Johnny Clark, the Heptones, Delroy Wilson, Ken Booth, Prince Jasbo, Dennis Al Capone, and the list just goes on. Basically, all of the artists of the 70s and the 60s, we back. Owen Gray, it's even when I talk about it myself, it still amazes me with my actual history. And that's why it's a pleasure to talk about it, because it just brings joy when I talk about it.
Same.
That was what brought us through. And then after 2 years of being Young Ones from Zion, we changed the name to Black Slate for two reasons. Back in the 70s, you were proud to call yourself black, out of America, everything black and proud, black, everything was Black Panther, black this, black that.
Black Power, the Black Power period.
That's right. So for us as a young band, it was like, okay, yes, let's keep the blackness and let people know. Because in England, you say the name of the band, they don't know if you're black, white, pink, or blue. So we tell them, make it easy for them from the off, we're black. And then the reason for the word slate is that in the olden days, like our grandparents used to use slate in school.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
yeah.
Because we want to carry a message, and our music will always have a message, whether it's a message of love or a message of roots, reality, or encouragement, freedom, but it's a message, all the same. So we said we're going to call ourselves Slate, so it's Black Slate, and that's where the name came from. I
see. So you come from a period you just mentioned the Black Power, period. That period also, when you were born and were growing up in England and all of that, was also nicknamed the Windrush generation, right? What is that?
See, everybody, it's amazing when people can just bring up a name and then give it so much publicity that everybody identify themselves with it. And so then call our parents the Windrush generation. And sometimes it's really annoying because we're more than just the Windrush generation. You understand me? Them like to title us and tell us who we are, but we're more than just the Windrush. You think it was only the one boat? Black people were coming in from long before that and teaching them things. So it's easy to use and call, but we are a lot more than the Windrush generation. We are the generation of inventors. We're the generation of creators. We're the generation, we started, and we're what they want to be. That's why them love to put us in a box and say, yeah man, no one is this now. No. We own the box. You understand? We're not in your box of Windrush generation. So when I did the name Windrush generation, but I don't even think my parents came on that boat. They came on another boat. You understand me? They just want us to believe that our parents came on that boat. But I don't think so. But, if they make us ever have to talk about the history of that boat, they will be embarrassed. So let's leave them with that name, and they walk on. We're the first generation of the black-born children of the Caribbean in England.
Same.
And what they try to do to our generation is not educate us. And, we would be in schools where we were definitely the minority. And they would tell us that what they're teaching us, if we don't understand it, is okay. But what they didn't realize is that we serve an almighty God who creates all. And we are the original beings. So when they wasn't educating us with their edited knowledge, we were getting knowledge by just looking, seeing, and doing.
Same.
And by doing that, it made us a great set of people. And when they realized that this first generation of these parents, this generation, when they realized how powerful we're becoming, they said, "Oh no, when we have children, we better educate them so we can edit them with the knowledge and then keep them within the educated system of knowledge, so they don't." So when people realize we did far better when there wasn't educating us, you know, before my woman said, "Oh, we're not going to go and sit on the back of the bus," you know, they realize, hold on a minute, we can't do without these people. We need their money.
Anyway.
So when you even go as far as back as that, when you realize they've always needed us.
True that. True that. So growing up in England, right? You are the child of parents from originally, I should say, from Jamaica, from the Caribbean, and you were born in England. True.
That's right. I was born in England.
All right. So growing up in England, right, where the original, or let me say the original music form, reggae music, is from your homeland, right? But you were born outside of Jamaica, but you're still growing up with the culture of that music around you. And it's not just you, it's also other great names like Steel Pulse, like the list goes on. A lot of England really nurtured reggae music outside of Jamaica, if I dare say more than any other country, but I stand for correction. But growing up in that environment, what was it like?
Well, growing up in that environment, it was a sense of that's how we were educated. If a lot of us is to be honest. I learned a lot of things. I learned the 23rd Psalm through Here I Come, Dennis Brown.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I get to know the Lord and then realize, hold on a minute, the song I've been singing. Or when you hear the song 7 Books by Toots and the Maytals, that's how we know the books of the Old Testament. These guys was I knew about Marcus Garvey because of Burning Spear, not because they taught me in school. So, you realize, the different doctrines. It's because a man sang a song called Diverse Doctrines. So you learn things. We learned so much through the roots music coming out of Jamaica. And that was our teaching. So when we wasn't really getting educated through the schools, we were getting educated through the music. And because they wouldn't give us our own clubs, we then had our own clubs. By creating our own clubs, we played our own music. Well, they've changed that now. They've taken away all the clubs so that we have to listen to their music. And this is how we've noticed how they change things according to how we adapt to make things better for ourselves. And this is where we are. Now, we don't have our own radio station, but we have many radio stations now. We're talking with each other.
There you go. And that's also another thing that came out of England around that time, not true? The pirate radio station, which was
absolutely,
derogatorily called the pirate radio stations, but which really was a very vital part of disseminating the music.
That's right. We basically, that's how, according to white society, that's how disobedient we was. We did everything we wanted to because if we need it, then we would do it. If we want a club, we'll make our own club. If we want a radio, we'll make our own radio station. That's how we were.
Basically.
And
Now,
we did what we wanted to do because we needed.
Basically. Now, also, another aspect of that revolution was the sound system, right? The sound system, which also took the music around, which also made the music a phenomenon. And you grew up with that system. You grew up in that type of environment because your father did own the sound system called what? King George, true? Tell us about
Sir
that.
George,
Sir George, not King George. Sir George.
Yeah.
Sir George.
Right,
Tell us
right. So
about
King
that. Tell
George
us
was
about
the
that whole
label.
experience.
Yeah, you know, growing up in a house, because our house was one of those multi-story houses, and in the basement was where the club was. So my dad actually had a club called Queen Bee in the basement, and basically all hands on deck. So my mum would cook the food, my dad would be playing the music, and I would be in the bar. My brother would be in the bar, and we all, and then when the dance done, we have to clean it up. You know what I mean? It was, you know, people would have their christenings in the space. People would have their weddings there. It was a space where things happened, and you know what I mean. As we developed as a nation of people, we were very close. We were close because we wasn't able to you know what I mean, like if they say in America you couldn't go where white people was. Well, it was no different in England. It's just that we understood it better. And we never fight about it because we were all right. We had our own economy. Now we don't have no economy. Them days, money would pass around in black to black hands 7-8 times before it leave our hands. Because we had the shops, we had the grocery shops, we had the clubs, we had everything. The agent, we had everything. So the money just kept on circulating. So we were making our own millionaires. They've changed that now. So I'm old enough now to notice how it was, how it changed, and how it's become now. And that's why we've gone to the next level and said, well, all right, then you know what? We've done the music, we have to make movies now. Because everybody, we have to take it to the next level. And we can. And we have to work with the young people. This is the only way to make young people understand. Put it on the big screen. They will respect it then.
Same. So personally, you as a person, right? It's kind of, I don't even know how to ask this question because already I know that you grew up around the music, right? There's so much music around you, the club, the sound system, you know, all that. Your father being invested in the music and all that. But what really was the very first, what's the word? Influence in music. What really what were your earliest influences in music?
Okay. I think initially, obviously, just that music that my daddy played, you know, simply. And then after listening to it, liking some and not liking others. So my dad had a wide range. He listened to jazz, he listened to soul music, he listened to reggae music. So my dad had a collection of music, blue beat, ska, you know what I mean, rhythm, and he had everything. So you're listening to the music and then going to school and learning to play the recorder and then discovering that you can actually hear something that your parents are playing and playing it on an instrument. I think that was the biggest realization for me. When I realized, hold on a minute, I can listen to what my daddy is playing and I can replay it myself. When I discovered that, I then wanted to make a record. So I made my first record at the age of 11. Because that's, you know what I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make records. I told my mom, I want to be on TV. I want to be a star. Without even realizing, and my mom would humor me and she said, all right, then what you want to do is, she said, I want an organ. She bought me the organ and the rest is history. So when you say, what was it? Is recognizing that you can do it too. And then being introduced to Bob Marley's music. And as anyone can say it, you know, I saw Bob Marley when I was 12 years old. And he shook my hand. And I saw him perform with Peter Tosh, the original Wailers. And, you know, they weren't even the headliners. Johnny Nash was the headliner at that time. But I can remember that day to this day right now. and it changed my life. I don't know what it was I was hearing, but what I heard, I tried to reproduce it. And then that's where the rock reggae, you talk about roots rock reggae. Yeah, because we were progressive. We were, you know what I mean? The Jamaican music was very laid back, even though they was chanting down Babylon, but they were chanting down Babylon relaxedly. They were relaxed doing it. But we were chanting down Babylon with a force, with a marching drum. And that's why we were marching. Every music we did is like you was jogging on the spot. If you're dancing, you're jogging. It was a movement. And the music was like that. It was a constant movement. And wherever we went in the world and played it, that's what was happening. It was, you were gathering people. You was like a storm gathering up everything as you move. It didn't matter where we performed. And this was happening throughout, whether it was Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Toast and the Maytals, Jimmy Cliff, all these guys, we were all touring together, playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. And they didn't look like us either. Because we had got to a point where we want to make change. We want to change the way the world is. And by traveling and playing music, we believe we could do that.
Same. So when you say you learned to reproduce the music, you mean you played it on an instrument, correct?
That's right, yeah. After listening to it and then being able to play it.
On an instrument. So how did you start learning the instrument? Like, what was the first instrument? And
my first instrument was a recorder in school. And then I went to a treble recorder, which is a bigger version of the recorder. And then my mom sent me to piano lessons. And with learning the music, but because the way my brain works, I can't read and talk at the same time, or I couldn't read and play at the same time. So I would memorize the music and then play it back in time with everybody else. And when I was in my music class, the teacher picked up the music sheet and said, "You're not reading it. You're playing it, but you're not reading it." So I had the skill to work it out, but I didn't have the skill to look at it and play it at the same time. So the teacher said to me, "Don't waste your mom's money anymore. If you want to play the instrument, you don't need to look on the sheet." And then that's what happened. And everything
Why? Little did they know, not true.
Well, this is it.
Little did they know.
Myself, I just got on with it.
Anyhow. So now let's talk about the band, right? As a unit. You know, growing up around the music, all of that, you know. First of all, you were very fortunate to be born to parents who had the wherewithal to take you for piano lessons and stuff like that, right? A lot of other kids probably didn't have that opportunity, you know, but you had that, and a lot of respect to your parents, you know, for recognizing that it's a path that their son could chart. You know, I really am very impressed when I see parents who believe in their children enough to invest in their talent like that, you know. But at what point did you merge with the other members of the band to actually form the band?
At the age of 12. So I was in a band when I was 8, and we lasted for 2 years. And then the present group of Black Slate, Desmond, who's the original drummer and still drums for Black Slate, Chris Hansen, the guitarist, the original guitarist and still the guitarist, and myself. So I met them in 72, and we're still together now.
Interesting.
And really, what it was about, you know, as I say, it's a movement. We became brothers. And your friends, you become friends, and then you become family. And everybody's family. Like Desmond's family was my family. My family was Desmond's family. So we had one big family. Elroy joined us, who was on bass. Keith joined us, lead vocals. Clayton Rogers joined us. Sandra. We had a lot of people come and go. Throughout the year. Purely because that's how life is, isn't it? You start. Some is a journey. Sometimes I say to people, just look at me as a stepping stone. I'll help you to get to the next level, to where you're going. So don't feel bad when it's time to go. It's fine, because most things is just for a season. Some things are for life, and some things are a season. So Desmond and Chris and myself, we're for life, and everybody else who's joined the band is for a season.
Let's see. So
we managed to do a lot of things over the years, writing songs together. You know, I mean, I've always been a songwriter. I wasn't blessed with a voice, so I always had to work with vocalists. And you know, there is something about Chris and Desmond and myself. Our simplicity to music, or a simple understanding to music, and the joy of just wanting to play music is what has kept us together. Because when people have an ability of when people see you, they see, you know, like a master pianist or a master player of an instrument. It comes with a lot of things. But when you're somebody who just plays your instrument all the time, because that's what you do, it's two different roles. And one gives you consistency, and one gives you seasons. And that's why you see many bands come and go, because they're there for that season.
Sing. Mr. Brightly, so you, at some point, you put out a song called Sticks Man. And Sticks Man has become one of your signature tracks. Like that, if I'm not mistaken, is probably the track that pushed you into the limelight, so to speak. Is that accurate to say so? And tell us about Sticks Man.
So, Sticks Man, the record, was actually a dub plate that I made for my sound system. And the reason being, because obviously I'm running a sound. So I've taken over my dad's sound now. So I'm in the group, but I'm also running the sound. So because I can't afford to go to Jamaica and buy the dubs, I make my own. And Sticks Man, the record originally was just an instrumental. But at the time, you know what I mean, our young people society at the time, there's a lot going on. And when I say a lot going on, you know what I mean, you're coming out of school, you can't get a job. Or they say, no, go and work if you're a woman, go and be a chambermaid. If you're a man, go work. You know, you couldn't even get a dustbin job. You would just be packing shelves. You know, you just couldn't get jobs. And who did have qualifications still couldn't get jobs, because they saw us coming. When you come to the door, they tell you that the job is not there for you, because the only people that was employing was white people. And they wasn't employing black people at that time. Until they realized, you know what I mean, if you employ a black person, he works twice as hard as a white person. And then everybody would have their token black person working for them, because we're so glad to get the job. You work so hard because you don't want to lose it.
Sure.
But that's the truth of the matter. But anyway, during that time, there was a thing called sticks, dropping sticks. And there was a set of kids or young people that used to just pickpockets. Now, we did invent people been pickpocketing for decades. It's just that at this point in the 70s, the young black generation, there was a portion of them who actually created young teams of people. And they would go out and say, yeah, we're going to pickpocket, or we're only going to pickpocket from white people. So that's a criteria. Go and pick from white people and then come back and spend the money with the black people. And that's how it was. And they will buy clothes and look smart. But what happened one night, I was going home and I saw a black lady got a bag taken from her, from a black man. And then I said, hold on a minute. Look like when pressure reached them, it don't matter whether you're black or white. They're gonna. So I went back to the studio and then wrote that song. And interesting enough, when the first time we were going to play the song on the sound, because my sound was the young people following me, and they were all 6 months. So I said to my brother, I said, boy, if I play this record, we could have a fight inside here. My record is telling them off. But my brother said, play the record. And when I played the record, the man them stand up and say, it's our record, this is our anthem. And they never take it, even though they know the words. They just sang the song. And what I didn't realize, it was the first black social commentary record, British black record, to be made about British black people and what was going on socially. And then I think
this was before. Excuse me. This was before Handsworth Revolution from Steve Pulse.
Absolutely, yeah. Steve Pulse came afterwards.
I see.
So we're talking about 75. So I think Steel Pulse was already formed because I can remember doing a show with Steel Pulse. But by the time we made that record, I think Steel Pulse joined Ireland in 78, if my memory serves me right. But what happened with that record, when it came out of London, because the Sticks thing was a London thing, but when it came out and went into places like Birmingham, Bristol, Manchester, and white people heard the record, they said, look, there's a black group singing and saying black and white people are the same, so we are one. So they took it as a record of unity, because by this time, don't forget, we've been going to school with white people, so you have white friends. So they wasn't, we had white friends who was proper graduates. So it was that record sort of created a unity between black and white people, and that's what made it so popular in England. And then when it went into Europe, they called us the disco reggae band because it's 4 to the floor. Boop, 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 the beat is going, and it's their disco music. So they danced without even realizing what the words was about.
Same. So the other thing is, your father was also your manager, correct? The manager of the band.
That's right.
Okay. And then under his guidance, you backed up some heavy names. Like, this is what I meant initially when I was doing the intro by saying that people will find out how rich of a cultural history you have as a band, right? When we go through your history, your bio, and see the type of things you've done as a band. You used to play with bands like I just mentioned, Steel Pulse, Misty and Roots. Wow. Aswad. No, wait. Actually, this I'm talking about a different. This is now. This is Delroy Wilson, Errol Dunkley, Leroy Smart, the Heptones, Dennis Brown, Johnny Clark. Like, this is like a roll call of greats. Not true?
That's absolutely true. And the list goes on. Ken Booth, you name them.
And because you also mentioned that because you explained to us how you became like a stand-in band for some of these artists. But how old were you at the time? How did you even get that link? Your father was like really big. I'm sure.
My dad was a businessman. My dad also owned nightclubs. He had a grocery shop. He had off license. He supplied drinks. So my dad was in the business. So, so he was, and don't forget, he had a popular sound himself. So he would say, yeah, my son a play and I'm going to make my boy group play as well. So anyway, he carried the sound, he would let the group play. So he just carried us everywhere he went. Like we were his handbag. We just was everywhere. You know what I mean? And when we, you know what I mean, a lot of the clubs, you know what I mean, they will say, oh, we need a band. And say, yeah, man, come on, my son band will back you up. And that's how we really developed. And it just developed and developed and developed, and it just grew huge.
To the point where you played Top of the Pops. Now, anybody who grew up in my generation, right, and maybe the generation before that, and maybe the generation after that, you know, I grew up on Top of the Pops. I grew up in Ghana, right? But we used to get tapes of Top of the Pops. This was like what we used to watch all the time. You know, when this is when the video cassette started coming out. Like we had family in England who would send us videotapes and you know the VHS players and all of that. And some of the material they sent us was purely Top of the Pops. And this was like the creme de la creme of the music scene, music in general scene. And you got to play Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell us about that experience.
So what happened was after Six Man, we made an album called Amigo. And on that album, it had tracks like Mind Your Motion, Romans, Freedom Time, obviously Amigo, Half His Time, and records like that. And what happened, we recorded the album in 76. You know, we started recording it 76, 77. We finished it in 77. And it wasn't until 79 when somebody heard the track and took it and gave it to somebody. You know, a lady called Sherry Class gave it to her boyfriend who was on a British national radio station. And they liked it. But don't forget, for us, the record's like 2 years old. And for all the black people, them don't hear the record done with. But for the white people or the white audience, it was brand spanking new. And literally within 4 weeks, we were in the top 10. The record just took off. The record took off, and it sold so many records so fast they couldn't print it enough to sell it. And then they discovered that the song was a spiritual song. And then they was not allowed to play spiritual music on the radio.
Really?
Yeah. So when they realized that, when they said, "Ja, Naga, deceive, you know," they thought it was a gimmicky song. Amigo, and they just singing along, amigo. So it was gimmicky for them. And, you know, and we're black, and them love to look at black people as gimmicks. But they didn't realize there was a message. And when they realized what the message was, they withdrew the record from the shop.
Interesting.
And obviously, you know, they call us a one-hit wonder, innit? Because they couldn't afford for us to be chanting that message and having people following us and having their children singing along with us. And then next thing you know, as you see, all them white children turn Rastafari, innit? It's because of records like that. They start growing locks.
Same.
And to this day, they can't stop it. But that's what happened.
Same. And then in the 80s, you got to tour with more heavyweights. Peter Tosh, the Wailers.
Yeah.
What haven't you done in reggae music? Like, seriously though. Come to think of it, what haven't you done? You know? That's very interesting. And then so it was a European tour?
Yeah, we did a European tour, we did a world tour. You know, I mean, most of the places we performed, we were the second reggae band to be there. Black Slate, Bob Marley was always the first. You know, a lot of people really don't realize the real footwork that Bob Marley did. But for every place we went and performed, Bob Marley went there first. So we were the second reggae band. We were the first British band to be there, British reggae band, and we would be the second reggae band because Bob Marley went there first. And that was the beginning of, you know what I mean, you know, you go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, you know, when you say reggae music, they say Black Slate. Because they copied us to this day. We're going to do a tour in May back in New Zealand and Australia. So to how far they were from us, but our music went there. So, you know, how things happen, you know what I mean? Look, we never know our music was played in Africa because we had no connection, but the music was there. And they've made sure, maybe they didn't expect us to be playing music up until now, because now we know. So now we're touring, now we're preparing to do Ghana and Kenya now.
Nice.
You understand?
Nice.
It's never too late. It's never too late.
Nice. Very nice. But so, but at some point though, after that, no, go through, finish.
No, I was saying there was so much things we didn't know. You know, I have to big up Natty King, man, because he's based in Kenya.
Yes.
And he said to me, we've been playing your records for years. Dread in the House is an anthem record for them. Rockers Palace is an anthem. We didn't know that. Them records are like 35 years old, 40 years old. So we're recognizing where we are now and the landscape of our music. You know what I mean? And now we have my son as my lead vocalist. So he's only 42 years old. So literally, we're appealing to the original generation, the new generation, and the younger generation.
See, that's another interesting aspect of the band, right? The generational thing. Your father had the sound system, you worked under him, you took over the sound system. Now your son is practically fronting for the band, right? That's another interesting thing. This is what I meant when I said the rich cultural history. You know, this is amazing. And by the way, your son has a phenomenal voice, like phenomenal. Let me ask you, has he always? From what point did he become the lead vocalist? And before that, who was the lead vocalist for the band?
Okay, so we've been through a few vocalists but what happened was we were celebrating 40 years in the music industry. And I said to Desmond and Chris, boy, how it feel? Should we go back on the road? So we said yes. And we had different people singing for us. But we knew it wasn't right. But it was like the best of the bunch. And because we had them just singing stuff that we had already made, it was like, okay, we can get by. And my son said to me, because in the early days, me and my son never had a great relationship. We knew each other, we got on, but we never had the best relationship. But we met up around the same time when I was rehearsing and preparing the 40th year anniversary. And we met up and I told him what I was doing. And he said, wow, that's really good, Dad. You know what I mean? I'm going to come and check out the show. Anyway, because he's a musician in his own rights. He's won the Mobile Awards with his vocal band. He's done very well in his own rights. Anyway, we was having a conversation and he said to me, why have them man sing for you? And I said, well, because that's who's available. He said, boy, you better make me sing for you because I can do better than that. So I said to him, boy, it's not just my decision, I said, I would love you to sing as my son, but you have to audition So he said, how much songs do you want me to learn? I said, but learn 5, 6, 7 so you can show the variation. And he said, right, and then he said to me, what, you want to do the audition tomorrow? And I said, what, you're going to learn 8 songs by tomorrow? Because that was one of my biggest problems with a lot of these singers. They can't learn songs. And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, all right. So next day, we call him up and him say, boy, Dad, I can't make it. So we said to myself, sit there, I chat. But he said, no, but you can't come to me. So he said, I just can't come to you, but you can come to me. And when I went to him and I took up my iPad and watched him sing, I felt a feeling and I said, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah. You have to eat humble pie.
And that's where we are right now. And he's now on his second album. We're just now re-recording some of the Black Slate classics so he can make them his own song. And we're now celebrating a tour called 50 Plus.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. What I want to do right now is give my audience a feel. We started this show by giving the audience a feel of the music, and we're encouraging you go check the music out, and we'll find out how to do so at the end of the interview. But right now, what I really want to do is give you a feel of that voice that I refer to as phenomenal. Well, and check this out. It's called I Can't Breathe. We'll be right back with Anthony Bradley, Black Slate.
Whoa, yeah.
Fraction.
I can hear my brother crying.
Did you hear that?
He's crying out, I can't breathe.
Oh gosh.
I'm in a struggle and I can't leave. Crying out for help, I can't breathe. I'm in a struggle and I can't breathe.
Culture.
Crying out for
Reggae culture. Reggae culture. Reggae dance. Reggae culture.
Say no.
Hey, boy, man, boost. This is what you do. Right now, they are into the new
Culture. Reggae culture. Reggae culture. Reggae dance. Reggae culture.
It's a brand new sound for radio.
Day and night, worry, 'cause we don't know, we really don't know if we're gonna make it home. We don't know if we're gonna make it home.
It's a brand new sound for radio.
But at the same time, I said at the same time, our brothers are killing each other in the streets. No.
Radio culture. Reggae culture. I can hear my brother crying. Serious things as well.
Sound for radio.
Out, I can't breathe.
Did I tell you why?
I'm in a struggle.
Black Slate.
And I can't leave.
Serious things.
Crying out for help. I can't breathe.
Charlie, this is how they go my marrow inside. Where my Ghana people there?
And I can leave.
Listen lyrics, listen rhythm, listen music, reggae music.
Breathe.
And the man that hit said, Black Slate, we're going to Kenya and Ghana.
Just want you to know
I am definitely going to Kenya and Ghana to go check out the Black Slate concerts when it comes up.
No.
Natty King Mountain, big up yourself, don't know my brother. Natty King Mountain from Outta Kenya. Hey, listen man. You are doing some phenomenal works for the genre. Big up your status.
No more.
All right, let's go back on the line and go finish up with the man Carl Anthony Brightly. After this show, we will not be able to bring you the top 10 chart show. Instead, we'll be bringing you Groundation with the brethren Wiro I, Rastafari, and the man called Seven Fireside.
Crying out for help.
But for now, we're still on the interview with the man called Anthony Brightly. Let's go on and finish up the interview with the man from the Black Slate. All right, my brother. So,
Yes.
two major things that I want us to cover before this interview is over. One of them is this. After a while, the band broke up. And you did mention earlier about bands and their composition and how they, all of that. But that's one thing that since I was a boy, I've always been thinking about. I don't know why bands break up, because check this out. You have bands that, and this is the psychology of it. There's a band that gives a whole lot of people so much joy through their music, right? Sometimes the people in the band don't even know how much impact they are making on people. But people hear your music, they love it, and they want more of it. But then it gets to a point and then it truncates, right? And the audience or the people listening to you or the people patronizing your music do not understand the complex nature of individual needs, right? Why maybe somebody should move to a different city, which is why they're no longer with the band or whatever the case may be. Why did Black Slate break up?
Okay, so Black Slate never actually broke up.
Mm.
What happened was we progressed to another level.
Mm.
Now, just understand this. Don't forget, I started Black Slate from the age of 12. Most of those other guys were like 18, 19, 20, which were just young men.
Mm.
By the time, by the time some of them guys was getting to 20, 21, 22, they were having children.
Mm.
And, once you start having children, you have responsibilities.
Yes.
And if you can't put food on the table and you're up and down and play music, it's a problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because your partner's going to say, you're up and down and play this music.
All you do is go and waste your time with that music thing there and you're picking them hungry.
Right. So the reality is called survival.
Mm.
So a lot of bands have a survival history, or you turn around and say, well, you want to see children grow up, but you can't be on the road all the time.
Mm.
So in Black Slate's case, Keith Drummond, the lead singer at the time, after we did the New Zealand tour, we didn't know how big we were. We were huge. When I say huge, we're still big down there. But bodyguard big. Where you have to have bodyguards because people are running you down on the street.
Mm.
No, don't forget, we're living also humbly in England.
Mm.
Because the record now, Amiga was on top of the pops like a year ago. So that pop, and we haven't had another record in the chart. So we're no longer popular in England anymore. We're just that band who had a hit record and everybody thinks that you're rich and switch.
Mm.
But no, all you're trying to do is survive. So when going to New Zealand, and it was a lot. We actually did 12 shows in 14 days.
Mm.
And with all the traveling, it took us 3 days to get there. So we lost one of our day off seeing the traveling. And the tour was a total sellout tour. And in the tour, you had to perform every night, sound check in the day, and sign records in every town. And go to the Maori camps, and it was a lot.
Mm.
And don't forget, I'm only 21. I'm a kid still.
Mm.
Like, I'm a child. You know what I mean? There was no university of music to teach you how to handle this kind of pressure.
Mm.
And there's a lot. There's a lot. It was a lot. And after that, Keith went solo and just said, boy, I'm going to do my own thing. Elroy went solo. And me, Chris, and Desmond just stayed doing what was done. I had already started my own production, having my own recorded label, which was the Sir George label. Chris Hansen started a thing called Music House, which is one of the biggest and the most known, what would I call it? Music, reggae, well, not even just reggae music, because he does all music, but he does mastering. So he does mastering, processing, plus he does stampers, printing records. So we have an industry within a business within our industry.
Mm.
So to earn money, because you can't get a record deal. So just as well, we owned our own label and we just kept on making records. That's why our catalog is so big, because we never ever stopped making records. And it's just like, however you got distribution, wherever the record went, and so on. So straight after New Zealand, we actually made another album called Midnight.
Mm.
So we never actually, it's just that we had different lead singers and different bass players. But the rhythm section and drums was always the same, right the way through.
Same.
So, but you know, I mean, when the question is asked, why do bands break up? As I said, there's normally many factions, but normally it's really the pressure where your foundation gets wobbly. You lose your girl, you start drinking, you know what I mean? You're on tour and you find out your girl with another man. That mash you up. You can't even perform properly because all you think about is what's going on at home. Or you're on tour and you get a letter waiting for you when you get to the next town, and it says, because there was no emails then.
Yeah.
And you just about can afford to make a phone call when you get into a new town.
Yeah.
And you can't, and don't get no mobile. So when you phone the house, you just hope that they're there. You phone the house in the night and nobody's answering the phone, you mash up in it. So yeah, so when you so that's why, you know, when you hear man write songs, you know, what do you see when you look in my eyes? Listen, it's born out of some heart pain or some. So yeah, so the answer to your question is that life takes over while you're on the road.
Life happens. Why?
That's why.
That cracked me up. That really cracked me up. Okay. All right, Mr. Bradley, thank you very much. Before we go though, the next phase of your life is that you have discovered, like you put it in your own words, you have rediscovered Christianity. And now you have picked up the gospel and you are combining that with your music in a form that you call Lover's Gospel. Tell us about that. First of all, tell us about your relationship, your newfound faith, if I can call it that, and how it interfaces with the music that you're playing and that the new genre Lover's Gospel. Tell us about that as we round up.
All right, so let me explain that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how you put it. But you know, God is always in our life, was always in our life, because we used to see some amazing things happen and we used to wonder what it is.
Yes.
We used to go places, can't speak the language, don't have the address for the venue, but yet the faith that we got on that boat or that ferry or drive to that town to go and do that show that we wanted to do, even though we never had all the information, or it was in another language. It's a faith. You know, faith stands for believing in something you can't see. And God lived within us. It's just at which point do you recognize that He's in you? You know, a lot of times people just say, oh, I'm just find God. No, I want to make reggae music. I want to make gospel music because But no, God was always there. It's just that we never know how to access it. And in my world, when, if you think of some of the early Black Slate songs, they will be classed as gospel. Amiga is a gospel song. It's got God written all over it. My Emotion is gospel. You know what I mean? So our records always had God in it. But we were coming from we were coming from a feeling of knowing of an existence, but not actually saying that I am a child of God. So that's the answer of finding God. So I baptized in 95 because I said I'm going to make it a public notice to say, look, I have a relationship and I want the world to know. And I've always wanted to record a choir, but it was to find a choir that never thought that reggae music was devil music. And I went to, I went to LCGC and they said, no, we're not going to allow you to use our name and associate it with reggae music. And I went to the Ruat choir, Bishop, his name is going to come to me, Bishop Francis in Brixton. And I said, boy, I need a choir. And he said, are you going to be praising the Lord? I said, yes. He said, well, you have a choir. And as a result, I made that album, The Mission is Possible. Because the doors that can be closed sometimes, is only faith can get you through. Is only faith can get you through. When I can imagine when Moses put up that rod and the sea opened, he had to believe that it was going to open up. And sometimes you're pushed to that point where you have to believe in something more than yourself, higher than yourself, and believe that can happen. And that's why, that's why me and you are talking today, This is the right time for me and you to be talking. It couldn't have happened before. I had to meet a man who lives in Kenya, a young man, see his name, and believe that he could do this. And look where we are now. I've never done so much interviews in such a short space of time over such a wide span of people in the world, in my life. I didn't even realize it's Texas. He was in Texas. And you are broadcasting it on 11 different radio stations.
Yes.
And you want to tell me that there's no God? Listen, man, let me tell you something. Okay, right. Not more funny than the truth, and that's what my brother says. But see there? It's huge. It's huge.
Yes. Wow. Wow. So much knowledge, so much wisdom, so much to learn from such an erudite artist as this man called Anthony Brightly. Mr. Brightly, thank you very, very, very much for taking the time out to come speak with us today. This is not going to be the end because guess what? I put a few questions down to ask you and I noticed that I couldn't even go through. I went through like just about half of it. So it looks as if we're going to need you back on this network sometime in the not too distant future to learn more from your experience and from your achievements as a band, as an individual. Because, for instance, I wanted to talk to you about your entrepreneurial, spirit and how you take that from your father and you start carrying that on, And if you notice, this whole interview has not just been about your music, but it's also been about Black people liberty, basically how Black people live, the culture, all of that, So, but you were saying something.
Yeah, no. You're actually, you see, what is going on here? We have been made by the people. We are servants of the people. You know what I mean? you're playing my music, people are listening to it, and I don't know them.
There you go.
You understand? And they're getting a feeling from that music. So we are all connected without even realizing how we're connected. So I meet somebody and they stand up and sing the whole of my song. He's my brother then, innit? Because he knows the song better than some people.
Straight up.
And he will give you a story of what that song has done for him. So where we are now is that, and because we are making movies now, we've made 2 movies and we're about to do a series and another movie, which is all part of our industry. It is this network that's being created. We're using our music to get to people so that our people can get to see our films. And in our films of our music, people want to know and realize that we have an industry. We have an industry where Black people can act, sing, perform in their culture. Not in somebody else's culture, not do something that's against what they have been brought up all their life not doing. But someone says, well, you're an actor, so you must do this. No.
There you go.
So this is why this whole thing of linking up, joining up, creating our own industry for not only ourselves, but now for this younger generation. Because don't forget, for us in Britain, we're the oldest of the British born. There's no one before us. So this generation has only just got to this point.
Interesting. Interesting. Mr. Brightly, thank you very much. And
no, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really grateful for this interview. Thank you. And I thank all your listeners for taking the time out to listen to our story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And we'll be leaving this interview with another song that exhibits the pure ingenuity of the band called Black Slade. This one they call Going Home. Till same time next week. My name is Beloved, Anointed. I'm out like a light. One love.
Yeah, Black woman, take the children and go home. Said we've been too long in the belly of the beast. Africa, we're coming home. Coming home. Teachers, doctors, and nurses, chanters and poets, singers, players of instruments. Tell me how you're going home. Africa, we're coming home. Yeah. With great substance. Coming with great substance. With great substance. Coming with great substance. So black woman, please take the children and go. We've been too long in